Hello everyone and welcome to Mercy Kill. This is episode 27, Shovel Knight and Celeste with Sabera. Before we get started, y'all, SGDQ 2021 Online is this upcoming weekend. If you haven't been told, buy our SGDQ attire, and yes, this was planned. I love it. Come see a week-long marathon benefiting Doctors Without Borders. Come see the event and donate here on the Games Done Quick channel starting July 4th to the 11th. Go to GamesDoneQuick.com for more information about SGDQ as well as our other hotfix shows. If you're watching on YouTube, also, hey everybody on YouTube, hope y'all are doing well today. Would like to support our live shows, feel free to check us out at twitch.tv/GDQ. Sorry, very excited for SGDQ coming up this weekend, but tonight is Mercy Kill. Savera, how are you doing? It is wonderful to meet you.
I am doing great. Thank you. It's wonderful to meet you too. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. And also, we have a guest on commentary. We have Carrie here. Carrie, it is wonderful to meet you.
Hello. It is very nice to be here.
So tonight, we are going to be doing Shovel Knight first. That is going to be low percent, and then Celeste any percent. So let's get started by talking about Shovel Knight. So I have to ask, what got you into speedrunning in the first place, Sabera?
So it's a little bit funny. It is actually the music to this particular video game. A long time ago, on an internet far away, when I still only had AOL dial-up, and an internet relay chat client, I met somebody going by the handle of Vert, in the Squaresoft music arrangement community on DALnet, back on Internet Relay Chat. And Vert, also known as Jake Kaufman, is the composer of the soundtrack for Shovel Knight. We hated each other at first, and then we became really close friends. And then somewhere in like the middle of college, we kind of like drifted apart and kind of stopped talking to each other. And then Shovel Knight came out, and I was like, this music sounds really familiar, and it was just like his style, and then it was him. Like he wrote the music to this game, and so I started playing it, and I was just like incredibly attached to it. And I was like, I wonder what the speedrun for this game looks like. And I looked it up, and any percent looked super complicated, and then there was this tab that said low percent, and I was like, what the heck is that? And I clicked on it, and I was like, oh cool, they're just using the shovel all over the place. There's no like currency routing, there's no like using all of these different items in complicated ways. I can do that. It was harder than I thought. I dove into the Shovel Knight Discord. I met a whole bunch of wonderful people, many of whom I don't actually keep touch with anymore, unfortunately. But that was my introduction to speedrunning, was running Shovel Knight low percent for like the better part of a year.
Well, this is a very appropriate first start then to this. So again, Mercy Kill, for those of you who do not know, is a show about rusty speedruns. So what have you been running since Shovel Knight, and how did it exactly get rusty?
So Shovel Knight low percent, I topped out at about an hour and 12 minutes, and the world record for low percent is under 50 minutes, by a guy named Smoggy, who also I think holds the any percent world record. And I just I felt like I wasn't making progress anymore, and I was starting to get angry at the game when I ran it. And like angry at myself, and so I put it down, and it just like sat for a couple of years, and then Celeste came out, and I played Celeste, and I got really into Celeste, and I started speedrunning Celeste, and then I kind of topped out at like a 42 something and put that down for a little while, and then picked up Axiom Verge, which has been my main speed game ever since at the beginning of pandemic. And that was largely like I needed something to do, right? Like we were stuck at home all the time. I was going to start streaming. What was I going to stream? Speed runs. Okay, I did a little bit of Celeste, but I still like felt like I was sort of at my limit. And then I found Axiom Verge as a speed game. I had played it casually before, and that kind of got me back into speedrunning. So since then, I've run Axiom Verge, I've run The Messenger, I've run Ninja Gaiden. I participated in the Best of NES Big 20 back in September. I'm now admin a speedrunning community for Record of Lodos War, Deedlit, and Wonder Labyrinth. I've started speedrunning or learning the speedrun for Astalon, Tears of the Earth. I like indie Metroidvanias. There's like a little bit of a theme going on there.
Wow, you've been very busy lately, to say the least. That is a tall list of speedruns, and very difficult speedruns, too, at that. I, of course, have to always think about Ninja Gaiden. You know, I love NES games. That's really sweet. So what you're saying is in about another year or two, you're going to have some more Rusty runs. I'm going to have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, probably.
As for Shovel Knight, before we get started, any safety strategies, anything at all that you want to implement into the run here?
I'm going to be hitting a number of checkpoints that I would normally skip because otherwise I'm just gonna, I'm gonna die and I'm gonna have to go back 2 or 3 checkpoints and it's gonna suck. Everybody's gonna hate it. I'm not going to be attempting the one and only strat that I ever created for Shovel Knight, which is a beetle skip in the Mole Knight stage, because that is very, very, it was very tricky even when I invented it. So I'm not gonna, basically just gonna be trying to take things a little bit slow and get all of my boss kills the first time instead of getting too aggressive.
All right, that all sounds good. Are you ready to go, Sabera?
I am roughly ready to go. Let me just go ahead and I forgot to input my name here. We're gonna go ahead and also I want to say that it's very appropriate that you've got that scythe because Spectre Knight is one of the our Grim Reaper-ish guy is one of the knights that we're gonna be fighting in this game a couple of times.
Oh, sweet!
So thank you for cosplaying for the occasion.
Oh, anytime. No, this is our mascot for the show here. We have to have the scythe every. The name of it's actually Run Ender. That was the name that was given to it, so...
Yeah, all right. So we are going to go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck and have fun. I cannot wait to see this run.
Thank you. We're going to see how this goes. It's shovel time. So there's lots of cute little stage intros in this. One of them just says shovel justice, and another one is justice in spades. So lots of cute things here. Back when I was running this, there used to be a big skip in this stage that was actually valid for low percent. There are 2 dragons in this stage that shoot out bubbles at you. They don't shoot fire, they shoot bubbles for some reason or another. You could, on the second one, ride one of the bubbles to a bad screen transition and skip a quarter of the stage. They patched that out eventually, so we're not going to be doing that. I never got the hang of it anyway, so it's just as well for me. Oh, yikes. This game is it controls so nicely, but it's got really interesting quirks that actually introduced me to some of the funny things about movement and speedrunning. So for one thing, when Shovel Knight starts walking, he has a little acceleration time. He doesn't start walking at maximum speed, but if you jump, he immediately moves at maximum speed. So at the beginning of every stage, the first thing that you want to do is jump, so that you don't have to deal with that acceleration time. And anytime that you're moving from a stop, you want to jump immediately. And little things like that I think are really interesting. There's lots of little corner cutting that I'm not going to be doing in this, but I think overall I remember the movement-ish. We'll see what happens. Except for this first stage, all of the checkpoints are also breakable. You can break them and get money out of them. Then they don't serve as checkpoints anymore. So if you want to make the game harder on yourself, you can do that. I think there's actually an achievement in the game for breaking all of the checkpoints or something like that. Or beating a stage while breaking all of the checkpoints. I don't remember exactly the details. But here we are coming up on our first boss of the run, which is Black Knight. So there's a little kind of stun lock thing you can do for Black Knight if I get it right. I didn't quite. Like this. There we go. There, that was a pretty good Black Knight kill, actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you discredit yourself a lot, but then I see that and I'm like, that was awesome. Well done there.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was not how that went when I played Shovel Knight. I had a lot of issues with Black Knight.
Between stages, we do get these little dream sequences. Every time so the stages are revealed in kind of waves, and whenever you complete whatever like the last stage is that ends one of these waves, you actually have to like fight through a dream combat sequence. But the rest of them you can just kind of like start cancel out of. But so now we find ourselves in King Knight stage, which is, oh my gosh, I did it wrong. Boop. I was trying to get under the lava and get it to boost me backwards, and it didn't. I'm gonna wait out this cycle. Talking about safety strats, there are ways to get through that faster if you're willing to take hits, and I just don't want to take too many hits and have to like go out of my way for health too early. Propeller rats. So these are one of the big RNG enemies in this run. They make your life miserable by not always going in the same place, even if you're doing the same things. And we'll see a lot of them. They're like one of the very common enemies in this run. They're kind of funny little things. They're like cute in their own way, but they really do like. They'll like not come up through a platform when you expect them to, and so you don't get a bounce off of them, and they'll make your life miserable. Or they like won't go in the direction that you need them to go to bounce for a skip, and they'll make your life miserable. Or they like won't come close enough to a wall for you to get them and land through a cycle, and they'll make your life miserable. Basically, they make your life miserable, is what I'm saying. I feel like, ooh, that was.
They do have that like that vibe about them in the character animation. They're just kind of dangling from those propellers, so it looks like they very much are like things that just would not really want to, like, no, I don't really want to do that for you, sorry.
They're not really in control of what's going on anyway. They're like, why, what happened? Where did my life go this wrong that I'm attached to a propeller and flying around like this?
So we do have a question from the chat specifically about the category here. So I know low percent basically means not getting any non-required power-ups, but is there anything in this run you'd have to go out of your way to avoid?
So there are not that many things that you would have to go out of your way to avoid in this category, except there are a couple of places where there are music scrolls. That are collectible items for, there's like a bard character in town, and there are a couple of places where it's easy to get them by accident. Oh. Nope. I did not want to do that.
I myself, I love the bard character. One of like my favorite, one of my favorite characters in the whole thing.
Ooh, that was good. That was a pre-confetti King Knight kill, which is like not super. I was not able to do that reliably even in my heyday, so we're off to a pretty good start. But these are the easy stages, and so so I wouldn't count our chickens before they're hatched. I wouldn't count our treasure before it's been dug up. I don't know. What's the like shovel equivalent of hatching eggs?
I kind of like the second one you went for there. I thought that was pretty good.
It was solid.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome to Spectre Knight stage. We're going to be fighting Sky at the end of this stage. So sorry about that. Here's our other big RNG enemy of the run, though, is these frogs. And the frogs are terrible. It's just, I can't tell you how bad the frogs are. They take 2 hits to kill, and when you hit them once, they often electrify themselves. And it's just terrible. There is a like fast strat in this room where you take intentional damage from it. Yeah, see, it jumped to the right instead of to the left, and so I got nailed by it. Also, there are these dark rooms with the lightning. The lightning flashes to show you where things are temporarily, but it's usually not enough, and waiting for lightning cycles is typically very slow, so usually we just don't want to do it. So that means memorizing where all of the pits are. Doesn't that sound like fun?
Yeah, that's it, so.
All right, so here's another frog. We love it. Those skeleton platforms will sink when they have 2 things on them. And so you need to make sure that there is either enough stuff or not too much stuff to make them sink. Oh, God, why are you doing this to me? Frog. There we go. Right. So with that thing that I was ushering from one side to the other, you want to like swipe it and then jump and swipe it again so that you can keep moving the entire time. And you have to do that in the dark where it has a completely black silhouette and a lot of the background is completely black. So fun times.
The black background gave me like casually a lot of trouble. It's like so many things are covered up. I couldn't make my way around a lot of things.
So
even when I
a
went back.
That I would normally not hit. And see, that electrified frog nearly gave me a heart attack. All right. And then this is just awful. Sorry, Carrie, you were saying?
I was just saying that the black silhouette and the black background, even when I went back for like a second casual playthrough, it was like, oh yeah, this is hard. This is like not, like I know the low visibility is on purpose, but it was like really hard for me, really hard to dedicate my time through.
It is, it's really difficult. And that like, I'll take a hit here and boop, 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 boop. No, you're going on that side. Boo. After the first attack, there's no guarantee about which side he goes to. All right, that was actually a pretty good fight. But I did want him to kind of like come back to the lower left corner again instead of going to the lower right corner, but you really have like kind of a 50-50 chance about where he shows up, so womp womp.
That is a good point. Are there any other places in this game that flicker like that? I don't know Shovel Knight quite as well,
yeah, so that's a good point. There are other places with lightning and flickering in them, and almost all of the bosses have like flashing after they die. Also, the campfire segments like have flashing when they dissolve as well. Like this section after Shield Knight is going to hit the ground and then there's going to be a bright flash. Like that. It's not flickering, but it is if you have sensitive eyes. But there are a couple of other places with lightning. Not until the last couple of stages though. So for the most part, I think it should be okay.
All right. Cool.
And I'm sorry about not realizing that ahead of time. So welcome to the Explodatorium. That's literally the name of this stage. It is literally called the Explodatorium. This is the home of Plague Knight, who is an alchemist. He wears a plague mask, hence the name. Like a plague doctor mask. Oh, wow. I had forgotten that that's how you do that. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna get hit. There's lots of stuff that explodes in this stage, and everything that explodes does one full pip of damage, which is awful, and I hate it. So I'm gonna be a little bit cautious about stuff in this stage because all of the aggressive cycles, I don't remember how they go. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So that thing technically explodes and only does a half pip, so yeah, we're gonna wait this cycle out.
I appreciate the boops, is all I was gonna say.
Oh yeah, I do love to boop while I'm playing games, like make sound effects and sing things and... Yeah, let's get rid of you and not get catapulted into spikes and boop and a boop and down here and grab a turkey. I don't know why turkey, literally the worst poultry, restores your health to full, but, you know. Sorry if that's a controversial take. I apologize for starting discourse on hotfix. That is one of those scrolls that is relatively easy to get by accident. That like music note thing that was hanging in midair. I don't like this. Oh no, that's not good. I don't like where this is going.
Everybody send some good vibes over. You got this.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Yay!
I actually did not expect to win that mini boss fight. There's much faster ways to do that if you're actually good at jump canceling, but I am not. So, whoop. Whoa, whoop. Too much fire.
Just Sabera noises, speedrunning noises, really, but you have your own little brand.
I turned around. I shouldn't have turned around. All right, death number 1. That's fine. This is fine. This is a stage where such things are common, and that particular area gives me lots of headaches, or gave me lots of headaches. Just like all of the rest of the fire has this like very slow cycle, and this fire has a fast cycle. And there's a skip here that I don't know how to do, and yeah, we're going, and boop. Ah, got stuck on the ladder a little bit there. Oh, no. Okay. I think we're definitely going to have to stop for a turkey before Plague Night. Assuming that we make it there, it'll be fine. Definitely make it to Plague Night. Oh, especially with that. That's very nice. This stage is actually really fun because it's actually one of the first stages where you get introduced to flinging projectiles back at enemies. If you shovel these like purple things or like the little like flasks that these alchemist dudes are throwing, they will like go back in the direction that they came from. And that's really cool. And it works on the little vials that Plague Knight throws at you too, which is really nice.
It's a really good, just like mechanic for.
Yeah, it's
I
really
like games that
satisfying.
do that.
Oh, ooh. I hate it when he like buries himself in the little cauldrons and you can't hit him because you just bounce off the cauldrons. Please don't. Yeah, there we go. Plague Night was one of the battles where I was worried about not finishing it the first try. So that's actually that's pretty solid. Did
Nice.
I go? I'm like watching my old gameplay. Did I go to the submarine first in my old PB? I know that I'm not that far behind pace at this point. Not with the way that this run's been going.
Yeah, I'm seeing the submarine right now in your past gameplay here. That's interesting. Maybe you did take a different route back then.
Yeah, who knows? Anyway, if you saw the little like dude that appeared on the overworld after that stage, one interesting thing that I think is cool about Shovel Knight is it has these kind of like random encounter things on the overworld, but if you complete the first 2 waves of bosses, so the first 6 stages, that was not good. I did not like that. In under a half an hour of gameplay, the random encounters stop appearing. You don't get any new ones. So like the ones that have already appeared will stay. But I won't, if I manage to beat the next 2 bosses in that time frame, I won't see the other 2 like optional bosses that can appear on the overworld, which is really nice. It's like a little speedrun mode, even though there's no explicit speedrun mode in this game. Kind of like you earn your way into the fast. You earn your way into the fast, basically.
That's actually really interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah. It's a little funny in that, like, the people who end up encountering the bosses are the people who need to skip them the most, generally.
Yeah.
But one thing that I do remember from my days being in the Shovel Knight speedrunning community is that people used to like make fun of me for riding on this chest, like pogoing it, because you can get a little bit messed up by the fish moving forward and backward, and by the like RNG of the little fish as they swim around. But I always found it very consistent, and I found it very hard to do anything else. So
it seems like
it's
a pretty generous hitbox.
Yeah, I don't know if it changed in a patch or something, but it definitely feels like the fish used to like sway back and forth more. I'm gonna take a skip here, and then if I die, I don't get to do it again. But and we're gonna wait out that cycle so I don't get knocked off. Waiting cycles is like my biggest safety strat for this game.
I mean, that does work, especially if it's over a pit of some kind.
Well, that happened. I killed the thing, but at what cost? At what cost? So basically what happened there was when these things hit walls, they explode. And I got damaged in the explosion because I launched it at a bad place. Oh no! Wow, sure. I did not realize that the collision for that did not phase. Yeah, I'm gonna get hit there and drop that. Oh. All right. Okay. Deep breath. Everything's fine. Whoop.
You
right,
got
let's try
it.
This again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There. All right. We're going to stop for a little bit of health, and I'm actually going to take this checkpoint. Taking this checkpoint is a little bit unusual. It's actually one of the slowest checkpoints. But there's so much of a risk of stuff like that happening that I didn't want to like risk dying here and like having to do the missile cycle again. All right, we're also gonna, I don't want to, but I'm gonna take that turkey because I don't think that 2 pips of health is enough for me to deal with. Oh no, hello. Well then. Treasure Knight stage has got me all flustered.
You got this.
All right. Here we go. All right. Oh yeah, I definitely did, because I'm watching on my old gameplay now and I'm like walking into the Explodatorium like,
Oh yeah, I see that you did take a different route.
I don't know why. Oh no! Wow, that was a terrible boss fight. I've never had that much trouble with Treasure Knight before. I mean, it's been a long time, so.
Well,
All right,
yeah,
let's do this again.
One of the requirements is you are not allowed to practice for Mercy Kill, so very much so been a while.
I gotcha. All right. Can you please? Thank you. There. Oh. Oh.
Oh,
There we
that's
go. That was
right.
much better.
I forgot there were checkpoints right before the bosses.
Yes. So at least there's that. Yeah. You know, we're a little behind pace now. That's fine. That's fine.
Easy for Sabera.
Easy. Easy. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, cool. Now we get to go to, that was the Iron Whale, which I love the stage names in this. Now we get to go to the Lost City. Lost City is like, you know, it's fine as a stage name, but listen to this music. Mole Jam. This is Mole Knight stage. That's why it's Mole Jam and not Cat Jam.
I respect it.
These birds, they're like definitely taken straight out of Zelda 2 from the cursed fairies or whatever the heck they are, dark fairies. They take 3 hits to kill and they make your life miserable. Or they take 4 hits to kill, I guess, and they make your life miserable. Either way, they make your life miserable. So these beetle auto-scrollers have skips, and I can't do them at all. I invented one for the second beetle way back in the day, but that was like 2014, 2015. So, nice, good damage boost. But like, just listen to this music. You can understand why I loved running this game, right?
If your game has great music, it's a very good like check mark on the pro side of me wanting to either play or run your game.
Yeah, music is a big factor. So if you're learning your game and you're doing run after run, and even reset after reset when you're learning a speed game, you kind of want to like the music. You don't want to be playing with bad music, and the music in this is so good.
It was really good.
Oh, this green bouncy segment, I spent hours trying to figure out how to do skips on this, like bouncing on the edges of platforms, trying to like skip jumps and stuff. It was good times and also nightmares. Ooh, that was good. Whew. No, I missed that one. Oh, hello, no. Thank you. And down. Boop, 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 boop. This. Oh, okay, that was fine. I was like, this could be a little bit dicey. I remember that room being difficult. And here we are at Beetle 2. Now, if I remember correctly, the setup for Beetle 2 involved being on like the tip of the beetle's nose to spawn the birds at certain times, and then boop. And we run ahead, and then the bird comes out. Yeah, I actually would have gotten that if I had kind of gone for it. Boop, boop, boop. No, that wasn't gonna give me enough height. So I'm glad that I didn't actually try it. That would have been a fun skip if I had actually gotten it, but. All right, Mole Knight. We love a Mole Knight. Oh no. Oh, come on. Take hits. Take damage, please.
Please. We are asking very nicely.
Yes. We would like you to respectfully take damage. Very, very respectfully. There we go. That was good. That's a good Mole Knight kill.
Yay.
In my opinion.
I always really liked how Mega Man style all of the bosses were.
Yeah, this game very has like this weird Zelda 2 Mega Man fusion thing going on with the downstabbing and the like overworld segments and stuff and like I just I really there is some ephemeral quality about this. Oh wow. No, stop it. Explodey things. I need you to stop. I want to die. It's not and there she is now no, come on. No, yeah. Now I need to save her because it took too long. I took too long to die because I manipulated the knights into the wrong spot. Didn't take damage from the flasks. That's what I get. All right. Now we get to go visit our shovel bro. This is one of my favorite stages, and also one of my, like, it's got some really frustrating parts, but it's got this, which I love. I just love that. Just that little, like, bug boot. This is also the stage that introduces the weird vomit phoenixes. Yeah, I know, it sounds weird, and it's even weirder than it sounds.
You very much took the words right out of my mouth on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to think about that.
If you haven't seen them before, you're in for a treat, question mark. This stage also, like, kind of, but not exactly, introduces us to bombs being in things, which is not cool, Yacht Club games.
Rude.
Extremely rude. There should be health or money. So these are the vomit birds. I feel like I described them accurately. Oh, no.
They're so fancy looking, though.
Yeah, they do kind of look like fancy fountains or something, but, like, they're basically puking rainbows at you, and I don't know, it seems rude. Like, keep that in your mouth, keep that in your stomach. I don't need your rainbow stomach juices. Though it's very appropriate for Pride Month, I suppose.
Oh,
Just,
absolutely.
For
spewing
sure.
rainbows everywhere. We're gonna go ahead and hit this checkpoint. That is a bomb, but also a turkey. And that enables us to do that. With confidence.
Huzzah!
Oh no, I did not like that. That was illegal. It is against the law to damage me. I'm gonna take the coward's route here. It's much faster to go low route, but if you take damage, you often just, like, pit immediately. There's also a fast cycle here where you don't bounce a million times on those dragons. It's very easy to end up just taking damage off the second dragon and dying. So, yeah, I'm not gonna do it. Boop. There's so much booping in this stage, though.
There is.
Boop. I wish that boop had come a little sooner on the hammer bro, because then I wouldn't have had to wait for his hammer, but we're gonna try to leave you behind you. And okay, cool. All right. That was actually a pretty clean Polar Knight stage. So now it's the Shovel Bro himself. Polar Knight is the only other knight that fights with a shovel. But he also fights with snowballs, because he's Polar Knight.
Gotta stick to the branding, you know?
Yeah. So Polar Knight, we're basically going to let him damage us and use the iframes to avoid dying instantly from spikes. That's why he's our Shovel Bro, is that he lays these instant death traps for us and then gives us an easy way to avoid it. So... Oh, yo, I'm apparently ahead of BB now.
Let's
Wait,
go.
really? What?
Yeah, it looks like it, yeah. Unless there was another routing change or anything of that nature. I'm seeing the gameplay and she's ahead.
Oh my gosh, I must have had a really bad Polar Knight in my PB, though I just watched myself do the fast cycle on those dragons. So now I'm in Tinker Knight stage, which we love Tinker Knight. And by which I mean we hate Tinker Knight. This has tons of conveyor belts and also RNG rats. So these clockwork rats are mostly they move back and forth. And and that's fine, but like when you damage them, they electrify and start moving in kind of unpleasant ways, and it's bad. Oh, I made the jump. Oh my god, I can't believe I made that cycle. I shouldn't have even gone for it.
Flex.
All right, we're gonna take this checkpoint though, and also this turkey. No, I do not want that. Okay. At least taking damage off their body only is a half pip, whereas taking damage off their gears is a full pip of damage. And that gives us 3 pips for dealing with this Red Knight, who I deal... Oh, wow. That was actually pretty clean.
It's funny, I don't remember this level at all.
I would block this level out of my memory too, honestly. Like the knives, the flying daggers. These are not missiles, by the way. They're daggers with rockets attached to them.
Well, that just seems excessive.
Closely, yeah, Tinker Knight is weird. It's like everything is a toy in this stage. Oh, no, thank you. I did not need you to bite me in the face, little Puka. No, thank you. No, I'm dead. Maybe not. Oh my god. Wow. Okay, so there's this one last night at the end that could still screw me up. Yep. Oh, jeez. And now I have to do that whole auto-scroller again. So...
Oh no. Why do developers still put auto-scrollers in their game?
You're asking the wrong person, but you know, they're in Celeste too, so...
God, you're right.
I mean, at least in Celeste, you can technically skip the auto-scrollers. In Shovel Knight, it is not possible to skip the auto-scrollers at all. The game will not let you transition screens until the auto-scroll has completed.
Hmm.
It just won't. And we'll see that coming up in like a little bit. Bum, 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 bum. But not... Oh, ow. We're also gonna... That's another checkpoint that I wouldn't normally take. But especially, yeah, given that that was about to happen. Boy. Nobody liked that. It was bad. All right, we're gonna damage boost through that because there's a turkey waiting for us on the other side here. No, do not gear me. I don't want to be geared. This is low percent. We don't get any gear in this. Oh, that was a nice pogo. Okay, so this is the auto scroller of Doom. If you do this casually, you would be forgiven for thinking that this is impossible, because there's way too many things going on in this auto scroller. And I'm just gonna hover at the top of the screen constantly, like waiting for the next thing to show up that I can jump on. A kind of funny thing about this that shows up in the vertical auto scroller in the last stage is that you can actually jump on top, like you can jump through things before they spawn.
Oh, cool.
And land on them after they spawn, which is like very, very kind of a fun thing to do. Can I make this jump? Can I make it from here, please? I could use the help. Thank you. All right, cool. Great. Tinker Knight. Tinker Knight has the unusual distinction of being one of 2 bosses in the game that has 2 phases. And by 2 phases, I don't mean that he like has 2 sets of behavior. I mean that he has 2 full life bars that you have to deplete separately. After you defeat the first one, he transitions into his second phase, and then which is a completely separate form. However, actually, this is true of both Tinker Knight and the last boss of the game. The second phase is easier than the first. So Tinker Knight's first phase, he runs around wildly and is like very hard to keep up with and very annoying. Throws wrenches everywhere. It sucks. It's bad news. And his second phase is this giant robot body that looks super scary, but actually we're just gonna get on top of it and pogo, 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 pogo. And he's gonna retreat and fire a bunch of missiles, and we're gonna pogo, 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 pogo while he's getting back into position. He's gonna retreat again. We're gonna do this again. And this is the fight. This is it. Do, boom. And that's Tinker Knight.
Oh, I do remember this boss fight now. You have sparked my memory.
Yeah, that's that was that, basically. We're now through the big auto-scroller section, except not because Justice in Spades. Up here on the flying machine, there are more auto-scrollers.
No!
Yep.
No!
There's more auto-scrollers.
Well, dang.
This is a classic airship stage. Lots of like just no floors anywhere sort of stuff going on. Okay, so if I didn't get the bug boop. I'm not totally sure you can make that bug boop anyway. It would have been faster to damage my way through that, but whatever. This stage introduces the wind sprites, these like little propeller enemies that blow wind at you. Those are, in my opinion, the most deadly enemies in the game. Oof. I saw that it was coming down. I just didn't jump fast enough. These little propeller axes have two behaviors. They can either jump and arc over you, or they can thrust through you. It's basically random. So that's the thing that they do, is that wind blast, and that can pit you very easily. Oh, ouch. Wow, that was embarrassing.
Just a step along the way. You got this.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get some food after this boss. This mini boss. Oh no, no, wake up. Ooh, at least I wasn't in the bomb. All right, there we go. Full health.
Nice.
Boop. We are gonna skip this checkpoint. That one's not worth going for. Boop. I'm gonna regret saying that. You know I am. Or
commentator's curse.
Boop, boop, boop.
Now, when you say boop, when you say boop, does it give extra damage?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
Boop gives you 1% extra damage. Unfortunately, this does not reduce the number of hits that any enemy in the game takes.
Dang.
But it does provide a little bit of morale. These wisps. Friggin' wisps.
The background in this stage is very Castlevania. I love it.
It is.
Oh, yeah. We'll be going there eventually, by the way. That's the tower. So the premise of this game is that Shovel Knight used to be an adventurer with his partner Shield Knight. And then one day they explored a tower and found a mysterious... Oh, no. That was not great. Mysterious necklace. When they took it, it caused the tower to collapse, and it collapsed on top of Shield Knight, and Shield Knight disappeared, and Shovel Knight got sad and became a farmer. And then after this happened, an evil enchantress appeared and gathered 8 knights up from across the land, calling them the Order of No Quarter. And they began to terrorize the land, and eventually Shovel Knight was like, oh, well, I can't just do nothing about this, and took up his shovel again for justice and chivalry.
I like that.
So we will eventually be going to the tower to face off against the Enchantress. So that is the tower in the background. And that is, so we basically have one more stage after this. Ooh, please don't do that. Is it? No, actually, this is the last stage before we go to the tower. No, thank you.
I will say, if you haven't played Shovel Knight, the story is amazing, and you should play Shovel Knight.
Considering, like, I was so excited by, like, the quirky feel of this game, but it is such a, like, touching game. I'm gonna skip this checkpoint even though it's a bad idea. Nope, that was a bad idea. I misjudged where I needed to be to make that work.
It's okay, though. You said that it was a bad idea, so...
Yes, so... At least I didn't die to the spikes there. Come on, hover, and there we go. And, you know, one thing about this stage is that, frankly, it's full of fans, and I really appreciate that. Like...
I'm a fan.
Yeah. Are you a huge fan?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I made it.
They're used to hearing that kind.
I didn't quite make it. I was so close.
Sad.
They're used to hearing that kind of thing from me, so that's nothing new.
I can't believe I did that to myself. I should have known better. All right.
By the way, we're about 45 minutes into the run. So 45 minutes into the run itself, so.
Wow, so this is actually a pretty good pace.
Let's go.
For me. I would say that I'm like not doing super well on this stage in particular, but all right. Okay. So, we're gonna do this the slow way, which involves... Oh. Nope. That was not the slow way. That was not the right way. I was supposed to stop on the platform before that. All right. So this is the kind of thing that could go horribly wrong that I was like, well, you know. But at least I did not activate the like extra optional bosses on the overworld, because that would have cost tons of time. Those fights are like, they're not especially hard, but if you don't practice them, which like if you're practicing this run, there's almost no reason to practice them, because you're like, if you get them, you've done something wrong. Basically, like, I don't know what's going on in them. Oh, no, that's gonna kill me.
I had totally forgotten about that aspect of the game. At the time I'd already passed it, I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, I really have to stop doing this to myself, though. Okay, focus time. I'm still, like, I guess ahead of my PB, but I'm, like, losing ground. What was that? I literally don't know what happened there. I think I got caught by the fan on the left, but that should not have picked me up. Literally never had that happen before. But I guess being on GDQ channel is where that's never happened before comes to gain life.
It's true, actually. That is the lore.
So now, yeah. So now I'm gonna be losing ground in my PB, it looks like.
You're not gonna be that far off, though. We got time.
We'll see. There's plenty of stuff that could happen still. We're gonna go ahead and grab this. Oh, I'm not gonna clear there. Okay, so we're gonna wait another cycle. All right, there we go. Boop. All right, now we're gonna wait. There we go. Clear.
Yay.
All right.
Good
We're gonna
job.
take it a little bit safe here. There we go. All right, cool. And now, if Propeller Knight goes well, we'll stay roughly on pace.
Roughly is good. We'll take roughly.
Ah, geez. That didn't go quite as I'd hoped it would. No, I'm gonna die. Yeah, I had a feeling that was gonna happen. All right.
Chin up. Let's get this. Let's get this done. We got this. I am now providing the moral support.
I believe.
Well, there's still probably room for improvement in my Tower of Fate, so
There you go.
why? Why are you not hitting? There we go. All right. Finally.
Yay.
Woohoo!
That's like, gotta be,
Oop.
you know, that's a little bit of some stress lifted.
Well, yes. Yes, absolutely.
If it helps, throughout the entire second half of that stage, there were fan puns. Like wholesome fan puns.
Yay.
The entire time. And when I say whole, H-O-L-E, that was also used as a ton of puns because, you know,
Oh,
Shovel Knight
gosh.
has a shovel.
Yes.
So there have been
And also,
a ton.
I was falling into holes, so
They really had
But
to
you-
dig deep for those puns, didn't they?
Oh yeah, but you did beat the whole level though, so that's good.
yes. And you know, sometimes things go a little bit awry, but we're back on beat, and I can dig it. It's time for us to turn over a new leaf, and I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyway, welcome to the Tower of Fate. I hate this place. You will too. Don't worry.
Looking forward to it, or maybe I'm not. I don't know. Am I supposed to?
I don't really know.
I think we're gonna see
I mean,
some good skill.
for people who are not in the runner's seat, yeah, I think looking forward to it is the right thing. All right, let's pray for good rat RNG.
Come on, rats.
Nope, bad rat RNG.
Dang it, rats.
Come on, good rat RNG.
Oh, rats.
There we go, rat skip. Yeah, like I said, these rats will make your life miserable. That was a good falcon skip there, or griffin skip. Oop. All right. Making it to the first checkpoint without dying is actually really nice. Hello, little Puka. Come here, come here, come here. Boop. All right, I'm not going to try to cycle skip here. Because that gets very dicey very quickly. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. No!
Heck.
That was rude.
Ah, that was not generous of the game. I thought you had that.
Yeah, I should have had that. That was actually a bug. It's a glitch in the game's coding. That was totally wrong. That cycle is ooh, no, I do not want to be here. Ooh. What? All right. Question mark. That was another that's never happened before. So we're up to 2 that's never happened before is this run.
2, parentheses 2.
Still got a whole nother run after this too, and we're already at 2?
Yeah.
Oh, Celeste will definitely be a game where you just go, okay, that's never happened.
There we go. That was much cleaner. Boop.
Needs more
Ka-chunk.
boops.
Honestly, every time she says boop, I want to say boop. But I feel like it's going to knock her off of her rhythm of boops.
Oh, yes. Please don't co-boop with me.
I am trying my best.
Co-boop.
Oh, all right, that's fine. That was a decent recovery. There is another dark section in this. Oh, you're kidding me. There's another dark section coming up in this stage. So please be aware. I don't remember if this one has lightning or not, or if it's just completely dark. But I'm in danger. Yeah, I'm in danger. Right, that's not great. Let's try this again.
I believe.
Really? All right. Okay, so boop and a boop, and now we boop. And then we boop. It's just all boops. It's boops all the way down.
That's right, chat. There's no backseat booping allowed here.
No backseat booping. Da da rum. Okay. Yeah, so this is the dark segment. I don't think there's any lightning here. Ow. You're gonna throw an anchor. You're a samurai. I don't get it. Why do we have samurais in this? You're gonna throw an anchor.
I kind of gave up on logic of enemies once there were rats on propellers, to be honest.
I mean, granted that's fair, but at least you would expect to see rats in the kind of like vaguely medieval setting.
True, actually. That is a very good point.
All right, cool. So we are now at Black Knight 2. This is technically Black Knight 3 because Black Knight can appear as a random encounter on the overworld.
I thought the overworld vaguely reminded me of Mario 3, but I'm like, but there's no Hammer Brothers. Well, there's the Hammer Brother I was thinking about.
That is, yeah, that's a good point. It is definitely... I missed. Boop, boop. A boop, boop. A boop. Nope, I missed that time. Oh no. Oh yes. Oh my god. That was amazing. That was an amazing fight.
Yes.
Wow. Nice.
Holy cow, that was clutch. I think that evens me up. I think that evens me up.
Looking that way.
It's very close, yeah.
Oh wait, I'm ahead.
What?
I regained enough time on Black Knight that I'm ahead.
I always believed.
Oh, definitely.
Right. Tower of Fate 2 is this one. This one is the sort of like fun vertical auto scroller at the end. But first, I have to get through the nightmare rats.
So is that like fun or like air quotes fun?
No, this one. Hello, please. I really don't want to have to. Thank you. So this one is actually fun. Ooh, that was very nice. That was completely unintentional, by the way. No, thank you. Okay, we're cool. We're in the clear. There's both a turkey and a checkpoint here, so unfortunately we're in the like bad part of the level. Our friend, the like fancy fountain, is back, but unfortunately, this part has several wind sprites in it, which are without a doubt the worst. Unless you happen to handle them exactly right in terms of when they spawn. That was very lucky.
Oh.
I feel hashtag blessed that killed that one, the second one. Okay, so this one is this auto-scroller is actually cool because this is the one where I get to show off what I was talking about before about jumping up above blocks before they spawn and landing on them after they spawn. Assuming that I do it right, which not a guarantee. Also, it's very easy to accidentally get that music scroll when you're not paying attention and screw up your low percent run. It counts for the purposes of invalidating your run.
Woof. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of hanging out at the top of the screen here, and if I get it right, I will jump past blocks and just like continue to move up on the screen. I'm not really getting it, so unfortunately we might not see it this time. Oh, there we go. I got one instance of it. There's another one. And it's actually possible to go high enough that you get up the ladder, grab the turkey off screen, and make it all the way to the right side of the screen before the auto-scroller completes, at which point you have to wait for the auto-scroller to complete before it will let you screen transition.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? And now the obligatory boss rush.
Gotta have a good boss rush.
Oh, always.
Yeah.
I mean, if this game's gonna look a little bit like Mega Man, what is that without the boss fights over again, you know?
Right.
Oh, jeez. I don't like having propeller first. I don't like this. So he doesn't fire the cannonballs here because there's no place for him to put holes. So and thank you. Oh, jeez. All right, and we get a free turkey between every fight. So we're not totally hecked, but I do wish that I would not have had to take that turkey right away on Plague Knight, because Plague Knight is another one of the, like, it's unpredictable how this fight is actually going to go.
I do respect that a lot of the others are just sitting around and waiting, just waiting their turn.
Yep. Oh, ouch. No, come on. Nope. No, thank you. Ah, thank God. Oh, jeez. And Polar Knight. Okay, Shovel Bro. We're good. We're good. We're good. Nice.
Wow.
All
Very
right,
nice.
with 2 pips, I can afford to wait on taking this turkey a little bit, which means safety. Okay, I can't wait anymore. I am not having a good time with Treasure Knight overall this run.
All right. Got it. Got this.
Oh, come on. Pogo, please. All right, we're gonna... No! All right, well, that's me starting the boss rush all over.
No.
I don't know why Treasure Knight is giving me such a hard time this fight, or this run, but... Good fast polar that time, though. Whoop. I'm gonna grab this. Nope. No, thank you. Yeah, it's gonna make it dark. Sorry, there's flashing effects. I forgot about these. In Spectre fight. All right. Enough of that. It is time for Plague Knight again.
Have at you.
I didn't want to take that turkey. Oh, he put the cauldron on top of my head. That's weird. I've never seen that before. 3, this has never happened before.
Oh, let's go. Okay.
Right. Whew, that was a clutch dodge. Nope, no thank you. There we go. Decent plague fight.
I am watching this with bated breath. Someone had said that boss rush is so hard in low percent, and I'm like, and then it clicked, and I'm just like, oh, that's right. You just have a shovel.
Yeah, I only have a shovel, and I only have 4 pips of health. Come on, trip, please. Thank you. And you're down, and now it's thing 2, electric boogaloo. We'll go ahead and pick this up now so that I start the next fight at full health. Boot, a boot, boot, and a boot, boot, and a boot, boot. No, I didn't do it right. Boot. Whew. Boot, 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 boot. The tricky thing about Tinker is that if you screw up one of those bounces on the second phase, it can become really hairy because he stops firing the missiles and starts firing these other like little bouncy ball things instead that you have to contend with. Which I think this is going to be a good propeller fight, actually.
I believe. We've been tiring him out.
Close. All right, well, it was fast. I took a lot of damage, but it was fast. All right, hi, Treasure Knight. I don't like where this is going. No, thank you. Please stop jumping back and forth. All right, we're just gonna hang out here. Doot. There we go. Gotcha.
Nice.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't like where this is going either. All right, this is fine. Nah. Taking a hit to King Knight.
In this economy?
Thank you. Thank you for the in this economy joke. No!
You're welcome.
The confetti! It's fine. It's fine. We have a turkey and it's mole night. And done.
Let's go.
That is the end of the boss rush. All right, we've definitely fallen behind. We'll see how Enchantress stuff goes. But we're now like almost an hour 10 into this, so we're gonna leave the Order of No Quarter behind. Sorry, you can choose to save them if you'd like, but I will not. And we'll see how this very last stage goes. All right.
Looking at all of them hanging there, Polar Knight's at the top. Like, seems like the strongest guy can just get them all back up. So it's fine that you just let them stay there.
Yeah. I don't really like this stage, like the part of it that leads up to the fight, because of this segment right here with these blocks. So in the first area, there's no place that you can fall, and then in the second part, there's just this like little bit of these raised platforms that you have no like foresight on. And then we're done. And then the candles start lighting. And now, if you're playing through this for the first time, you have no idea whether to be like wary of, is there another gap or anything? But there's nothing else here. There's just that like one tiny segment. I don't love it. I frankly do not love it.
Reasonable. These are quite the leaps of faith.
Oh, that shouldn't have. I do not like you, Enchantress. You are bad. Which I know is like kind of the point of the game.
I was just about to say the same thing, Mike. Isn't that kind of the point?
Ow. I put myself in a bad position. I only need 2 more hits. And there we go. Wow, that was a very lucky set of pogos. So, funny story about the Enchantress. It was Shield Knight the whole time. The necklace cursed her.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Again, story's great. Play Shovel Knight.
Yeah. Good news. Good news about this part is that I get my health refilled for the final battle, so it doesn't matter that I finished with half a pip of health. What?
This is the closest I've ever seen to someone PvPing on this, by the way. And I do believe that is time on past Severa. It was so close. You were both, current you and past you were both at the final boss at the same time. That is amazing, and that is the closest it's ever been on here between the PV and the current run.
Yeah, time is last hit on the final boss. So, and there's it. That's time on me.
GG.
GG! Congrats!
Thank you. Wow. I kept pretty good pace.
You did.
Pretty
that
good
was seconds
pace.
away.
There's some massive air quotes on that one.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, if that is somewhat good pace, I don't want to know what good pace looks like. Good pace is like world record in that context.
Oh, please. There's like 30 minutes between me and world record. Well, okay, 23, but still.
So, I have to ask, would you revisit this run again? Because I feel like you could PB on your next attempt, according to what we saw here.
I would. This is actually really fun. Honestly, like the places where I got really frustrated and was dying over and over again, like that was the thing that really got me, like when I was revisiting this before, or not when I was revisiting this, but when I felt like I had kind of topped out, was just that like I was running into these spots where I was just like stalling. I was trying so hard to get a deathless run and I just couldn't make it happen. So like, I don't know, this seems like it would be something that's fun to revisit. I don't think too many people run low percent these days because like world record is so low on this, and I don't know, Smoggy is really good. So, but yeah, I think I might actually pick this back up, but who knows? I've got like a million different things that I'm trying to do. So like, question mark.
Well, there are many, many folks in chat who did enjoy the run. And again, I have been posting links to both Severa and Carrie's Twitches again. So please be sure to follow both the runner and the commentator here. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about what both of them run before the next one, just to make sure y'all know what else they do. Because again, variety of stuff going on. Up next will be Celeste. So anything else before we end our Shovel Knight segment?
Thank you for giving me an opportunity to do this again. This is a great run. This has been super fun.
Of course. All right, folks, so Mercy Kill is not over yet. We will be back with Severa playing Celeste. However, did you all know, again, SGDQ 2021 Online is this upcoming weekend. Come see a week of long marathon benefiting Doctors Without Borders and see the event and donate here on the Games Done Quick channel starting July 4th through the 11th. Go to gamesdonequick.com for more information about SGDQ as well as all of our hotfix shows. And with that being said, everyone, get up, stretch, stay hydrated, and we'll be right back with Mercy Kill. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Mercy Kill. We are joined here by Severa and also Carrie on commentary. So that was a very intense run of Shovel Knight, folks. And again, please follow both the runner and the commentator provided in the Twitch chat. So how are you feeling after that? Are you ready to change gears to Celeste?
Great question. A little yes and a little no. Celeste moves so differently from Shovel Knight that I'm not sure how this is going to feel. But I'm excited. I love Celeste. It's a great game. And I'm very happy to be playing it.
So how did you begin speedrunning Celeste? I know it was after Shovel Knight because Shovel Knight was your first one.
Yeah. So Celeste came out. And I ignored Celeste. People were like, Celeste is so good, you should play it. And I was like, meh, I'm doing other things right now. And then I think probably like somewhere between 4 and 6 months passed. I was like, okay, finally I'll play Celeste. And it was not at all what I expected. Like I didn't know what kind of game it was. And then I started playing it and I was like, this is amazing. And I did all of it except for like the golden strawberries, which are really hard. I've done like a couple of those, I think. But I did all of the A sides and B sides and C sides, and I was like, I love this. And then I saw TGH speed running it, and I think at the time he was the world record holder. And I was like, this movement is so cool, and I don't understand how any of this is happening. Like, I just didn't understand how he was moving so quickly through things. And so I joined the Discord and started, like, asking questions. And I did a really sloppy run that was, like, an hour and 40 minutes long. and people explained strategy, like they explained strats to me, they explained the mechanics, and all of a sudden I was hyper dashing all over the place, and then I was like sub 50, and then I was sub 45, and then I was at a 42 something, and I was like, yes, I'm gonna get sub 40, and then I kind of like felt like I capped out again, and where I was like getting mad at the game for like I would dash diagonally when I didn't mean to, or I wouldn't dash diagonally when I did mean to, and like that at that point, right, like after like a little while of that, I was kind of like, okay, I need to put some distance between this and myself, and I've come back to it, you know, kind of periodically over time. My PB was after me returning to it. It's actually after I met Carrie.
Hi.
Carrie and Carrie's community like sat down and showed me some really cool strats that most of which I don't remember anymore, that like helped me finally get past that barrier. And I actually got a low 39. I was like,
Wow.
a 39.02 is my PB now. So like I would love to sub 39 at some point, but it just feels very far away at the moment.
That's understandable. And again, let this serve as a reminder to folks that it's okay to take a break. You know, if nobody ever took breaks, we wouldn't have a show like this, for one, where it's cool to return back to those old speedruns without any practice, just to see how well you would do. And we almost had our first ever PB here on Mercy Kill. So we know Sabera means business, even with rusty games. And I love it. I love it so much. It was such a good speedrun.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm looking forward. I hope I'll put on a good show with this one as well.
Absolutely. So any safety strats before we get started, just out of curiosity?
I think the biggest thing that I'm going to be doing is just there are a couple of places where there are like really tight like you can slip through enemies or like barriers that are moving back and forth, and I'm just going to be like trying my best to take those cycles on the slower side, and not try to like beat the cycle every time, because that's just going to kill me again and again. I don't think there are any like particular places where I'm going to be doing like very specific safety strats. The thing about Celeste is that every death sends you back a pretty short amount of space. Like every room is a checkpoint, so.
Well, that's always a good thing, especially now you don't have to worry about getting individual checkpoints. They just happen to be there as the game progresses, which is great. All right, are you ready to go? I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah. All right, we're going to get started in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck and have fun. The estimate will be 50 minutes for this run.
Good luck, Sabera.
Thank you very much. So we don't have the ability to dash yet in this opening sequence. We can only climb and jump. So I'm going to try and climb and jump as fast as my little legs will carry me, and also to skip cutscenes. It used to be that in order to demo dash, which is a kind of crouching dash that you can do that lets you implement a couple of skips, you had to bind 2 different actions to the same button press, which also gave you a single button press for skipping cutscenes. But that has changed in the latest patch, and so I don't think that's allowed anymore. I'm not 100% sure. Carrie, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
There are still runners that have buttons that that use a demo dash button to skip cutscenes, so that is still valid in speedruns. Yes.
Still, okay.
Yep.
Well, then I'm gonna be skipping them the old-fashioned way with 2 button presses. So that's gonna slow me down a little bit. Hopefully, not too much.
Yeah, the thing with the latest patch is that anything can be bound to anything. So now that the 1.4 is anything can be anything, then you can bind like down and confirm to a certain button still.
Okay, that makes sense. That was a very unfortunate first death, but it was fortunately in a place that didn't feel like it lost that much time. Nope, come on. Boop. There we go. That's a strat that Carrie showed me.
Yeah, that is called a hyper bunny hop.
Oh, no.
You're doing what's called a hyper dash, which is a dash cancel that gives you a little bit of extra distance. And using the speed that you get from doing the hyper dash, you do one jump, which we call a bunny hop, and you can go over that entire chasm and just simply dash to the next room instead of taking the zip mover that's on the left, which is a bit slower.
Oh, right. That was actually a halfway decent city for not having done this in a little while. Just shy of 122. That felt very stressful. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I think the chase sequence in Old Site is going to maybe give me a little bit of a heart attack. So just watch out for that.
Noted.
Have a defib on hand. So there's a fun skip in this level. I'm not sure if I'll actually get it. And it's in this room. Oh, there it is. So skipping the cutscene at that position causes your X position to change inside the dream block, but your Y position gets frozen. And so then you can just dash out of the dream block real quick and move on, which is super cool. It's like a fun little thing. It was one of the first skips that I learned how to do. No, I didn't get it quite right. There we go. And now for the chase sequence.
Yes, this is Battlein. In the game, she's known as the part of you, but we call her Baddie or Battlein. And she has a slight delay where she mimics all of our movements. So
oh no,
we must be crisp with our movements and not track back on ourselves too much so that we run directly into ourselves. So this is the spot where a lot of runners will be like, "Oh, this game actually means a lot of business."
Yeah. It's very easy for me to get like very flustered in this segment and do silly things like, oh, yeah, like that. So I'm trying to kind of keep my cool as I run, especially like in this room. No, I'm super squished. I was like, I can do this. And boop, boop, boop. And that was actually pretty nice. Right, and through, and...
This is the exact like spot where it's just like, yes, you have to be very careful that you're not going back in the same direction that you just came, because you will be going directly into yourself.
Yeah, I think this is, at this point, I'm probably like... very like stuttery with these movements compared to where I used to be. I used to be really good at, or at least I feel like really good at this, and I would have like coming out of the chase sequence at like a minute 30 into the stage. But fast awake is a myth.
Yeah. Awake is a very hard checkpoint. You can't die from anything except for one berry that's in there, but optimizing your movement can be really hard just because of a lot of small walls, chest-high walls, and all the springs that will immediately eat all of your momentum. It's really hard to really nail down.
Yeah. It's really interesting because it feels like not a place where I should focus too much of my effort, but I really want my beginnings to be clean. Especially because like there's so much potential to lose time in resort. I want like my resort to feel a little bit less stressful.
I don't know what to tell you. It really never becomes less stressful.
That's fair.
I was saying to some people that resort is where I really start to feel attached to the run. It's the lot like you can usually get through like site and city. Those are like nice small chapters for each, but resort is, you know, if your city is about 1.5 minutes and your site's about 2 minutes, resort's typically around like 5.5 to 6, and it's where you really start to feel the pace.
Yeah, that's totally fair. It was slow, but I always forget how to do that room with any amount of quickness. But there's so much fun stuff in Resort, and then like I'll lose a run here and I'll be like, resort can die, and then I go back and forth on it because it's just like there's so much fun stuff. Oh,
there is. What these little things are called dust bunnies, and as Sabera mentioned earlier, there are cycles. Any room that has them, they're typically on 2 cycles. You enter a room and they're on 1 cycle. If you die in the room, it's a completely different cycle. So when running this game, you actually need to be aware of what your movement should be if you were to die, so you can get through that room as optimally as you can. And this is this is a huge mess. It is a little section where there are some switches at the end of each section that help clean up the mess for us to exit. There's chests, books, and towels, and we go through it in that particular order, although casually you can go in any order that you really feel like. It just changes the design of each section slightly differently. Maddie Thorson confirmed themselves that the huge mess section was designed after the Super Mario World Switch Palaces, except if you hit the buttons, instead of making things easier, it makes things harder.
Oh, that's really interesting. I didn't think of them as being Switch Palace-y things, but they totally are.
Yeah, it's like once that was said, I was just like, oh, I totally see it.
No, that was garbage. Sorry, I shouldn't say that about things. This place is often where I get very flustered. So I'm actually like feeling pretty good about how I'm moving. There's like a couple of unnecessary deaths, but overall, and a couple of flubbed hyper dashes. But overall, I'm actually not too unhappy with how this is going.
Yeah, you're doing great.
And boop, and there, and go, and go, and go, and boop. Ha. So that was one of the places where I would have, if I was being smart about things, I would have like waited an extra cycle. But diving underneath that dust bunny is just so much fun.
But yeah, there's a couple of different things where you're going to hear us mention like a lot of different types of techniques. Hyper dashes is a common one. There are super dashes and hyper dashes. If Sabera mentions that she is doing a super dash, it means it's a dash cancel that gets you a little bit more height, whereas hyper dash will get you a little bit more distance. And you can actually extend those a little bit by doing a down forward dash on the ground for a bit and jumping at a certain frame, and you get your dash refreshed and a little bit of extra distance.
Did you talk about wall bounces?
I did not. Those essentially, so wall bounces, you can kick off of the walls by dashing vertically against them. They're taught in the B-side of Chapter 7. So with a little wall kick, you get a little vertical speed as well as some necessary distance to reach your destinations. Here, Here she's trying a technique called, as earlier stated, the demo dash or a crouch dash, as it's mentioned in the
first try
controller configure. There you go. When Madeline's in a crouch state, her hitbox is lowered to 4 pixels, which is just the right size to get through that wall of dust bunnies. If you do it manually, you have to dash from a crouch state within 4 frames of crouching. If you run on PC, you're able to bind that through your Steam settings, or through, if you're on keyboard, you can just bind left and down to the same button, or left and dash, or like left dash. And I'm not a keyboard player, but you can bound multiple things to one button. And it's a very, very hard trick. There's a very specific pixel lineup or 2 that can get you through that. If you do what's called a 1 pixel setup, you get 1 4-frame window to get through. If you do a 2 pixel setup, you get 2 3-frame windows. So it's totally your preference as to how many frames do you want to get through there.
that was me waiting out a cycle for safety.
Yeah, Oshiro can be a bit of a hacker at times, and will follow your y-axis on the screen up to a certain point where he charges his laser, then he dashes across the screen. Not only do you want to avoid getting hit by him because it'll cause you to restart the room from dying, but if he gets a little too close to you, you'll notice that the screen actually lags a little bit, turns like black and white, which lags everything but the in-game timer.
Yeah, that is also true. That the slowdown is real.
It really is. That was good. That was a very good resort.
That was a respectable resort. I actually feel like pretty good about how that went. None of the like deaths like completely flustered me. We'll see how this goes in Ridge because, Ridge. I can't use the word to describe Ridge that I would like to use to describe Ridge, but I'm thinking it in my heart of hearts.
Ridge has wind mechanics, and they can really cause you a lot of grief at times.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. The wind doesn't actually affect the speed that you get a dash, mostly just your walking speed. So you can still get the same speed out of a dash in the wind as you would without it. Just once your dash ends, you basically are back to your normal walking speed.
Yeah, which can result in you feeling like you're going to make a jump and not making it.
Was that Archie? Did you get Archie?
That was Archie. Yeah, Archie is really easy if you have a bound crouch dash button. It's basically free with the crouch dash bind.
So what Archie does is if you are to enter a bubble in a crouch state, the bubble will actually move up a pixel. And so in that room, you are not able to just dash into the bubble, hold upright, and get that touch switch. You will die. But if you enter it in a crouch state, it moves up just enough that if you hold upright, you actually just go straight into that crevice with a dash intact to get that touch switch and finish the rest of the room. And it saves about a second or more.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice... Oh, that's actually not... I didn't want to go up there and do that reverse. I mean, it worked, but it was slower than what I had intended to do.
But did you die?
No, I didn't.
There you go.
Like I said, it worked, but it was, slower than what I intended to do. Okay. There we go. Thank you.
So you can see from these screens how like wind affects your momentum, even when it's like going not just against you, but with you, because now you're going a bit faster across the screen, so you have to be really aware of like where you are, what you're doing.
Yeah, it's, wind can be a little bit of a bear. Ooh, now I get to show off a strat that I made up.
Yes!
Because I do I do my own special, oh, nope, I beefed it. I'm still gonna show it off, but I definitely beefed it that time.
I remember this. This was actually a thing, I think we were in a call together when you had...
Where are my hypers? Thank you very much. Yeah, we were in a call together when I realized that you could do this. Carrie was trying to show me there's a version of this where you do what's called an ultra dash. Mm-hmm. Where are my hypers? This is I didn't get the extend on that one. So basically, I don't really know how to explain ultra dashes, but they give you extra momentum.
I can explain it a little bit if it helps, or if you'd like me to. So think of, I always tell people, think of an ultra dash like a little bit of an oblique dash, because Madeline will get progressively more oblique in her dash as it goes along. Essentially, if you do what's called a wave dash, which is a speed tech that's taught in Farewell, in Chapter 9, You dash towards the ground, you jump off of the ground, and you basically get your dash refreshed because you're on the ground long enough to get your dash refreshed. If you are from a raised platform and you re-dash from that wave dash at the right time, you'll get a little bit of a speed boost, but what also matters is if you jump on the frame that you land, and you'll get a 1.2 speed boost off of it. I believe I have the idea of it correctly, but you can basically, if you tie them together, you get some really fun speed. And in that room, if you do it on the block, you even get a little bit of a momentum boost because the block itself is moving and will swallow that speed a little bit.
Yeah, but so we were on a call and Carrie was trying to teach me the hyperdash version of what I did in that room. And I was like, I wonder, because I was having trouble doing, or trying to teach me the ultra dash version. I was wondering, because I was having trouble doing the ultra dash version, if it could be done with a hyperdash, and it turns out that you can. You can do that, and so it's a little bit. It's not easy, as you saw, but it's kind of backup-ish, safety-ish sort of thing.
It's also fun because you're not getting the touch switch, so you can say this is a speed strat.
Yes. I mean, I always called the way that I got the touch switch a speed strat, but you know, kind of is what it is. Mirror Temple time. I'm going to be doing 5B, which is fun. Fun thing about this game is that it was actually, I guess, unintentional, but so there are these cassette tapes in each stage that if you collect them, unlock a like harder remixed version of the stage called the B-side. And if you complete the B-side of a chapter without having completed its corresponding A-side, it still considers the chapter to have been completed and unlocks the next one for you. Come on, Wave Dash, extend. There we go. Oops. Death cycle for the... One second. Death cycle for this room is easier anyway. And
I agree on that.
It turns out that for a couple of stages, the B-side it's faster to get the tape and complete the B-side than it is to just complete the A-side, which is the normal version of the stage. That is the case for Chapter 5, and I learned on running 5B instead of running 5A, and so I do that. So we're on our way to collect that tape at this point. Assuming that I don't fall before I hit the switch. There we go.
But you are, in fact, correct. The devs did not intend for that to happen, but when it was brought to their attention, they were really just like, oh, that's cool, and kept it, so.
Yeah, so this is a tape room. Oh, no. Oh, you're kidding me. So you've got this, like, retro-y music in here, and these timed blocks that appear and disappear on rhythm. And that's actually a feature of every tape room, and also the last room of every B-side has that going on as well. Those rhythm blocks. It's very kind of an interesting quality. But now we have the B-side tape, and so we're going to go ahead and 5B. Pray for me, because 5B is terrible.
It's jazzy, but I also agree with you.
I'm going to try Bub's Drop once, and if I don't get it, I'm just going to move on with my life, so...
Completely reasonable. It's a hard strat. Bub's Drop, you'll see what she's trying to do, but just know as she attempts it that it's a 2-frame window.
Nope, didn't get it. Didn't even get close to it.
So what Bub's Drop is If you are entering that room from that screen transition and you kick off of the wall during a certain 2-frame window, then the kick that you get off of the wall will be short enough that Madeline falls through the platform and falls back into the previous room. The game does not expect you to do that because that's why there is a platform. So if you were to retry upon entering this main hub room, then if you retry, you end up on that right side of the room, which is conveniently where we have to take the bubble anyway. So getting Bub's Drop is like a 20-second time save.
This room.
Cycles. We love cycles.
There we go. All right, and I'm gonna take this safety check right here.
Yeah, that's a very good idea.
The reason that I left the room and then walked back in was because it reset where my checkpoint was. So if I had died trying to make that extended jump to the bubble, because that's another place where the game, oh shoot. I think I may, ooh. Wow, I don't know how I saved that one.
Oh my God. You are so good.
I am so good at this game. I'm also really bad at this game, but I'm so good at this game.
You're like good at this game.
Then I would start on the other side of the room and not have to redo that whole bubble segment again, was basically why I did that. So now we're inside the mirror in the like creepy portion of the stage. There's lots of weird tricks in here, and I'm gonna try a bunch of them. They all involve playing with the beholders. So these beholders, or like there are lots of things that people call them. I don't know how I saved that one either. Have some weird properties to them, but they respawn every time they die. They don't stay dead. And when they respawn, they explode, and that explosion has a burst of momentum with it. So you can use that momentum to just catapult yourself across the room. That was so good. Oh my gosh, this is a really good 5B for me. Nope.
So this is our friend Theo. We don't meet. We usually meet him casually. You'll either see him for the first time in city if you're traveling, or in site because the campsite can be seen. But he got himself trapped in a crystal, and these doors can't unlock unless we hit these touch switches. But the gold doors cannot unlock unless we have Theo with us. So we can't leave him alone. We have to take him with us.
Also, if Theo falls into a pit, we die too. Oh wow, I'm doing a really bad job in this screen.
The gauntlet room is hard. Yeah, gauntlet room can be really hard. This is 4 rooms that each have a seeker and a touch switch somewhere, and they'll attack you like on site. So it can be really hard.
All right, we're out.
Let's go.
Boink, boink, boink. Throw. If I had thrown him into the pit, I would have died, and you'll probably see me do that here. You know, that's yeah, I just hucked my friend Theo into a pit. All right, cool.
It's okay, that room is clearly impossible.
Yes. This room is the, up.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm both really bad and really good at this game.
For those who don't know what went on there, those were called neutrals. You can actually climb up walls without ever wasting stamina if you don't hold a direction as you kick off of a wall.
Sorry, I just accidentally exited out of the save. I have to go back in and continue. Sorry, please, go ahead. Yes,
no worries.
So those were neutral jumps, but basically I should have died there at the very end of the room, and I neutral jumped my way to safety in spectacular fashion. Spectacularly awful. Like, nobody should ever do that, but... And now it's feather time.
Yes, feathers. feathers are interesting, depending on what you play in play on in Celeste. Like if your keyboard controller or D-pad, you'll have a different view of how good feathers are. But feathers will give you a little bit of a boost as you dash into them and travel up to a certain point, and then spit you out with your dash. And they are very needed to get through reflection. They're a little callback to a little cutscene in Chapter 4 that we didn't see, but yeah, it's a very, very good portion of the story.
Yeah, the story for this game is amazing. Just like with Shovel Knight, we're actually skipping through some like really good, emotional, excellent storytelling, and I highly recommend if you haven't played this game, that you do play through it, at least for the story. There are a couple of places here where Carrie showed me strats that I'm not doing because I don't remember how they work. So you could call these safety strats what I'm doing right now.
It's okay. I don't run 6A anymore, so I probably don't remember them either.
That's fair.
Also, by the way, those big thwomp-looking things are technically called crush blocks, but we in the community call them Kevin blocks, named after the sound designer Kevin, who has a very hilarious clip of how he made the sound by sticking his head in a bucket of water. Oh my God. We love Kevin.
This room is always just like a little pinball fun. I got a little overexcited there and spiked myself, but it's all good. It's all good. Whoop. Ah, geez. Why did I just like dash right up into the spikes as though they weren't, I didn't even know they were there, but I knew they were there. I knew they were there the whole time. You'd be forgiven for thinking I'm a little bit weird because you are absolutely correct. This room. I remember when I learned to skip the second feather in this room, and I was so mad that I'd never thought about it before.
Yeah, it's like when you start speedrunning this game and you see this room, it can be very... There's so many paths that you can take. Yeah, there's so many things that you just go, oh, I should have thought of that.
That little feather turnaround that I did in the last feather room before Granny, I did that specifically to deal with a thing that I find annoying about the bumper cycles in that room. And I'm almost certain a faster way of dealing with that, but I want to try to figure it out because I don't know it. I almost always end up taking Death Cycle in that room, which is easier. You can just kind of fly right through the middle. So I just do a little feather turnaround, and it's funny to see that pirouette. But there is a fun strat off of this particular Kevin block that's called Battle and Boost that involves somewhat precise timing of dashes and bunny hops, and I have executed it successfully exactly once, so you're not going to see it this run. This is, oh god, I'm gonna shut up for this. Carrie, can you?
I'll cover you. Yeah, absolutely.
I did want to say one thing. We have a little less than 20 minutes remaining.
Okay.
That's
More
good.
or less, we should be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds that sounds very winnable. So this particular subchapter is called Rock Bottom, because Battlein has been trying to drag us to rock bottom. Basically, it's a little boss fight, although the game codes these dashes into Battlein as hugs, because that is what you're trying to do, is you're trying to give her a hug. Battlein will be... this is basically like a bullet hell. You're going to avoid her laser and a lot of these little laser balls that she's shooting at you, all while the earth around you is kind of crumbling. And it can be it's really fun to optimize, but it is very hard on your first way through, especially because it's one of the first instances really where the where the safe ground that you've become accustomed to is being taken away from you or acting as an obstacle against you. So this can be a big stress for speedrunners who are new to the game, casual players alike, but I will say, without spoiling anything, that it is entirely worth it at the end.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm actually really happy with how this is going right now.
Yeah, this has been very clean run. The fight actually comes in slightly two parts. This is like a small little cutscene where, well, it's not really a cutscene, but it's a section where you have more of a conversation with Battle in. And then there's like a second phase to the boss battle. It's just ever so slightly. Oh, go ahead.
Everything gets terrible here. Basically.
Everything gets a little bit harder.
Carries is a little bit harder, but in my opinion, this segment is, substantially, yikes.
I'm sorry.
Okay, please jump, Madeline. I need you to jump a little bit. Thank you. There we go. That was how that was supposed to look.
Nice wall bounce there.
Thank you. I like that little wall bounce.
It's very fun.
That was the strat that I used to use when I was good at this game, so.
You got a pretty good time going right now.
As I dash right into the burrs.
I do not take away my sentence.
Right. I'm intentionally dashing out of these feathers and into the next ones to cycle manipulate. I'm slowing myself down basically for safety, because if you go too fast and you're on the wrong cycle, you can basically trap yourself in a spot where it is impossible to make it to the next feather if you slow down too much, but impossible to avoid the laser otherwise. So that's what I was doing there with those dashes.
And now we have 2 dashes. We have leveled up.
Yes, level up. We have 2 dashes.
I must say, when I played this game for the first time, I expected there to be, I don't want to say that I expected there to be so much more, but I expected like a whole other arc after I got this level up. Because I'm like, oh, I got a power up. Surely there's like 10 more chapters to go. And I'm not saying that I'm disappointed. I was just like kind of surprised that it was like given to you then. Because the next chapter is the last chapter for the run.
Welcome to Summit. Summit sees you revisiting all of... Whoop, that was almost very bad. All of the environs that you have seen in the earlier portions of the game, but with the benefit of your double dash. And so all of them are harder and worse. Summit is super fun. And then there's a whole new segment at the top of it, which is basically the Pico 8 Celeste, but for PC. I guess the Pico 8 is a PC. But...
Oh, I'm sure you've shown me that you've done that before, but I totally forgot that you did that strat.
Yep, I've pretty much always done that strat.
That's awesome.
Oh no.
But yeah,
I like it because it feels very swag.
It does. That's exactly how I looked. I'm like, oh, that's a swag strat. You're too cool for springs.
Ah, come on. There we go. Speaking of too cool for springs, I'm gonna take this a little bit safe too instead of...
Ooh, nice momentum off that zip mover so that you can just kind of like keep both your dashes at the end of the room.
Ah, what am I doing in this room?
It's a hard room.
Yeah, I got confused somehow.
But yeah, basically, we always kind of explain Summit as like, Summit's almost like its own game. Like if you didn't have the first 6 chapters, the idea of Summit kind of like works as its own game with all the different sections, all the different mechanics. And for an any percent run, Summit can be anywhere from usually like 33% to like a little bit less than, maybe like 25% of like your run, depending. Like Summit is a big portion of the speed run.
Yeah, it's not just because it's very long. Like that certainly has a lot to do with it, but it also has a significant amount of challenges where if you get stuck on something, you can spend a lot of time there comparatively. That was also safety, not doing the diagonal dash through there. Sub 3 through 1,000 meters is not too bad.
That's good.
Oh, right. 1,500 meters is
weird.
There's lots of stuff with these dust bunny cycles here that's just like this room. If I mess it up on the first try, yeah, the death cycle is really weird in this room, and I don't like it. It's fine now. It should be. Oh, nope. Not if I fast fall into a dust bunny.
That fast fall, even in top level speedruns, gets so many of us. It's really hard to like turn the corner.
Yeah, we're gonna.
I had a quick question for y'all.
Yes.
Would you like to explain to everybody what else besides Shovel Knight and Celeste that y'all do?
Yeah, I could be down for that.
Yeah, sure.
Do you want to go first? You are doing this. You are doing the speed run, so
why don't you go first?
Sure. So I am primarily a Celeste speedrunner. I've been speedrunning this game since 2019. So it's primarily the content that you'll see from me. But I also will play a lot of the Celeste randomizer. There's weekly randomizer seeds that I typically try to speedrun as well. There's always new maps being released by some really lovely modders and mappers. And many other aspects of Celeste that are released. And yeah, like that's mostly what I do. Sometimes if a game looks fun, I'll pick it up and speedrun it. I've done an 11 exit of Super Mario World, being friends with a lot of people in the Super Mario World community. And I've also done speedruns of a game that was in the Racial Justice Bundle called Eat Girl, which is kind of like a game that's similar to Pac-Man, where you eat a bunch of dots. It got really hot as a speed game last year. It was showcased by some really cool people in multiple speedrunning marathons. But mostly you'll see me play Celeste. I'm a console runner, so I do a lot of really fun stuff on console while we wait for 1.4. And yeah, right now any percent's gonna be my focus as we're doing a big any percent marathon across the community. So that's really me.
1 second. Okay.
Yes.
That skip, I live for that skip.
The auto scroller skip is really good.
Let's see. My primary speed game is Axiom Verge, which is a Metroid-style game by Tom Hack. It's just the one guy. And I have 4 world records in that game, all in different variations of the 100% categories. So 100%, no major glitches on both normal and hard difficulties. I also mod the Deedlit and Wonder Labyrinth speedrunning community, where I have decent times, but pretty far from world record these days in any percent and any percent no out of bounds. Oh, I didn't do the I completely beefed that. Any percent no out of bounds. Ooh, there we go. Oh, wow. Why did that super?
Ooh.
Yeah. That was weird, right?
That was weird. That was a bit weird.
It happened again. What? Alright, come on. Alright, well, that time, I still didn't hyper that time, but at least I didn't die.
You were pixels from a spinner, and my heart dropped for a second.
Yeah, that would have been a lot. Yeah, so I don't know. I was terrified of Metroidvania games at first, but that seems to be kind of my bread and butter these days. I ran Cyber Shadow a little bit. I ran Ninja Gaiden a little bit. Ninja Gaiden, I feel like I got what I wanted to get out of that game, and so I love watching people speedrun it, but I don't really run it. Oh no, I knew that was gonna happen. Yeah, we're gonna take this one a little bit. There we go. No, thank you.
Do we have time for a quick plug real quick for SGDQ coming up?
Yeah, go right ahead.
So, for those of you from the front page, first of all, hello, this is Mercy Kill here on GDQ Hotfix. This is a show about rusty speedruns because not everyone can be running the same main game at the same time, and those rusty speedruns need some love. But our big event, Summer Games Done Quick Online, is this upcoming weekend. Come see a week-long marathon benefiting Doctors Without Borders. See the event and donate here on the Games Done Quick channel starting on July 4th. That is this Sunday through the 11th. Get hype. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Whoa, why? Madeline, I need you to grab onto the wall. Thank you. I'm not doing the meme demo. Why am I not doing the meme demo? There's a demo dash you can do underneath those doors. It's kind of a meme because it doesn't save that much time, but it also looks really swag.
Yeah, door skip, as we like to call it, looks really cool, but and we used to say in the community that it saved 9 years, but it only actually saves about a second. You can actually get under those doors without a demo dash, but it is harder. Because of the smaller hitbox of a demo, obviously you have a bit more of a frame window to get underneath. You're in 3K.
I'm in 3,000 meters. So 3,000 meters, this is the part that is like Pico 8 Celeste. You have all of these flag checkpoints. So now I no longer need to transition between rooms to hit a checkpoint. In fact, transitioning between rooms, I believe, no longer functions as a checkpoint. I don't remember if that's exactly correct. Carrie, you would know better than I would.
What was it?
That I think once you hit 3,000 meters, transitioning through a room no longer counts as a checkpoint. It's always only the flags.
If you were to, like, say, go from updraft into no draft where flag 5 is, and skip flag 5 and die, you would still show up in the same room. So the primary transition is still flags, but if you were to miss the first one in the next room transition, you would still just show up in the beginning of that room.
Okay, I'm wrong. So room transitions still count, but you also get these flags to save your progress midway. This is just large sequences of really precise platforming. There are lots of things that are very that's short for dangerous, by the way, about all of this. And there are lots of places where if you're like not really clear on how the stamina mechanics work, you can end up losing your stamina. And just like falling to your death. I found that to be one of the hardest things about doing this casually was dealing with the stamina in the like edge cases here.
So 4.5 minutes left to go. Also, past Sabera also done, or Sabera also is done.
Yes. Past Sabera did a very good job, but we are no match for her at this point. But 4.5 minutes should be enough to finish from where we are. We are at flag 7. There's not a whole lot left to go. Basically, something pretty catastrophic would have to happen at this point for us to miss a 4.5 minute timer. for the end of this, which is possible. I've had bad yikes.
Oh, I've
That's
definitely
not-
had some catastrophic moments.
Checkpoint 4 was like my nightmare for a while in runs.
It is typically in my speed runs, it is flag 4 if I'm on like PB summit pace. Flag 4 will always be my death knell. It's the one that definitely hurts me the most.
Flag 3 is definitely the one that killed my runs the most because of running out of stamina in that little like S. That was... All right, but we are at flag 1, and so we are almost done. Boop, 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 and boop, and a boop, and a bounce, and a boop, boop, and a boop, 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 and a boop, 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 and a boop, boop, and done. Time.
GG. We've reached the
Oh
sea.
my gosh.
Jeez.
A few boops and we were done just like that. GG, that is both runs today for Sabera. Oh my gosh, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I was a little nervous there at the end, but, 4 minutes at the last 7 flags, it seemed doable. Thank you so much for having me. This has been super, super fun. And gosh, wow, I need to play more of both of these games, is basically the takeaway from this.
So that was one of the questions I was actually going to ask you. Would you recommend the Mercy Kill experience to other runners who may have not played these games in quite some time, or rusty games, if you will?
If you have a speed run that you haven't revisited in a long time and you're looking for an excuse to revisit it, I loved this. This was super cool. And thank you so much for putting this on and for having me. I would definitely recommend this to anyone, as long as you don't get like stage fright. I can't believe I sub 45'd on that.
It was clean. It was a clean run.
Hey. I opened chat now, and I'm seeing thank you everyone for the GGs. I really appreciate it. And thanks to everyone who came out to watch and to support. It really, really does mean a lot.
So any last minute shout outs you'd like to give to folks? Also, I want to say great job, Carrie, for wonderful commentary. Thank you so much for being here as well.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm always happy to talk about Celeste.
Carrie is the person that I would most like to have next to me talking about Celeste when it comes down to it. Shout outs. I've got several. Big shout out to my community. A whole bunch of folks I see in the chat who are regulars on my stream that came out tonight. So really appreciate y'all coming by and cheering for me. Shout outs to TGH, who, in addition to like being the person who inspired me to look into speedrunning Celeste, I got to know him relatively recently, and he is like a real stand-up dude. Doesn't run Celeste anymore, but excellent guy. To Amber Cyprian, whose show is actually on next, who has like built up my confidence just a lot in general lately, and helped me in a number of ways. I want to shout out Mumu Akai, who couldn't be here tonight but was supposed to commentate the Shovel Knight run. Excellent Spectre Knight 100% runner, ran at AGDQ this year, and was one of the people that I was running Shovel Knight low percent with back in the day, and so is pretty much the only Shovel Knight runner that I'm still in touch with. So thank you all of you for like support and love and everything.
How about you, Carrie? Anyone else you'd like to say hey to?
Sure. Shout outs to, first of all of y'all for having me and putting together great content and supporting great causes and the like. I wouldn't be as energized about speedrunning and gaming if y'all did not exist. So first and foremost to all of you. But yeah, shout out to my community, the Backpack Rat Pack, for popping by to give Sabera a bunch of support. To the entire EXOK dev team for being just an amazing development team and helping make Celeste such a great, not just game, but speedrunning game and really supporting all of us within that community. Frozen Flygon for being my best friend. Amethyst Rocks for being a big influence to me. LM Jax, Coral Reef, Bye-Bye for being just an amazing group of people that made me a better runner and have made me feel very welcome in the Celeste community. And yeah, just like many others that I could not think of the names right now, but y'all would know who you are. So I'll leave that at that.
Well, thanks to y'all for being on. It was absolutely awesome. And if y'all have any more Rusty Speed games, you know where to find me.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we are not finished here on GDQ Hotfix tonight. We have another show coming up, so please stay tuned. It is never before seen. Before we cut to that, remember that Summer Games Done Quick will be this Sunday, July 4th to the 11th, benefiting Doctors Without Borders. It'll be right here on twitch.tv/gamesdonequick. And with that being said, I'm Skybills for Mercy Kill, and I believe I owe you all a preview for a show coming up in 2 weeks. Uh-oh, this is where I sink into my chair. I'm actually going to be on my own show. I've been doing Mercy Kill for a year now, and our tech Richard talked me into being on my own show next week. So it is going to be myself and Mr. Keb55 here in 2 weeks running Super Mario All-Stars All Games Worthless. That would be all four. That's Mario 1, Mario 2, Mario Lost Levels, and Mario 3, all back to back to back to back. Yes, I actually used to run speed games myself here. So 2 weeks, Mario All-Stars, myself and Mr. Cab55. It is a first I will be playing on one of my shows. So with that being said again, y'all take care. And coming up next is Never Before Seen. Take it away, Amber.